Okay, here's a logic video on creating automation and the various ways we can create automation. One way is to create automation with manually dragging something while you're playing back. In other words, recording your automation live. That can be useful if you kind of wanted to feel more organic or something like that, or just is an easier process for you. With that, we use the automation settings. Every track will have an automation setting, a button, right above its volume and pan pot. It's usually set to off, meaning there's no automation. If you click on that, you see read, touch, latch, and write. Read means it's read only. That means if you have some automation in there already and you put it on read, you won't be able to accidentally change it. So that's useful. Touch means whenever I am touching a control, it's going to record that. When I let go, though, it's going to revert back to wherever it was before I touched it. So it's kind of like, there's a rubber band or something on it. I move it and then I let go and it pops back, kind of like the pitch bend wheel on your keyboard. Latch means that it's going to latch onto whatever I move my parameter to. So if I move up a volume slider and let go, it still is going to stay there until I hit it again and move it down. And then write, it will basically write over existing stuff. So in most cases you don't use write. In most cases you either use touch or latch. And probably feels most natural to use latch mode in most cases. So, for example, I've brought up this really groovy tune. Here's a bit of it. Isn't that nice? Okay, so I want to maybe do some stuff with mixing. I want to, this kind of beatbox sound, that is this one. Makes no sense with this tune, but that's okay. I want to maybe have that gradually come in from zero, from nothing. So I'm going to select my track, and over here I've got my channel strip. I can of course also do this in the mixer because there's my automation stuff as well. I'm just going to do it from my channel strip from my little shortcut in the inspector. So what I want to do is I want this to start at 0, so I'm bringing it all the way down. Of course, if I play now, I won't hear anything. But I'm going to, while I'm playing it back, I'm going to bring up this fader slowly until I get it where I want it to be. But I first have to tell it, do I want this read, touch, latch, or write mode? Well, I want it in latch, meaning that even when I let go, it's not going to all of a sudden jump back to 0. If I had this on touch, since I started at 0, it'll record anything I touch, that is with my mouse as I'm dragging it up, but as soon as I let go, it's going to snap back to where it started, which was 0, or no sound at all. So I want latch mode, and notice it turns orange, and all I have to do is hit play. I don't have to hit record. Record will record notes or audio through a mic, but for automation you just have to hit play as long as the automation button is on like this. So here we go. I'm going to hit play. And now I'm going to slowly bring this up. Okay, and I let go, but it didn't jump around, it stayed there. And I hit stop. Now if I hit return and hit play, notice that it moved my playhead all the way back to 0 because that's where my automation said to start. So I hit play and you'll see this move up magically all by itself. There it goes. Okay. So that's one way that I can do it. And I can do this for any parameter. For example, if I have this kind of escape velocity, sounds like this. It's kind of these high notes at the top. If I want to do something with that, maybe some parameter within the synthesizer, I need to bring up that synthesizer or a plugin even. So I'm going to double click on any of these insert buttons or the instrument itself. That will bring up the window where we can see it. And let's just play it back and see kind of what some of these controls will do. So let's say I want that type of effect on it. Why not? I've got the track selected. I now need to go over here and say automations, put it on latch mode again. I'm just going to hit play, and as I drag the stuff around, it'll create that automation for me. Kind of weird, but whatever. Okay, so I can close this window. I don't need it open now. But when I play it back, actually, let me open that back up and watch how this is moving. So it just recorded that stuff that I played it back. Now to see it visually, if I want to edit it or change it or other reasons why, I can actually see my automation data by clicking the automation button at the top of the screen. I can also just hit the A key for automation. And that drops down everything, so there's my volume automation that I slowly drop in. Here's my, well, I need to change it here to ES2, and that was one of my filters. Well, I can't remember which one that was now. Let me look. That was my cutoff filter on number 1, I think. There's that cutoff filter. There's that low pass cutoff. I don't want that. There it is. So you can see all these dots. Let me kind of stretch this out so I can see a little better. So I can see those little wah 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 things that I put into that. Now, as you may guess, if I open up this automation lane, I can also click in to create dots just like you did in GarageBand, what you can also do in Reason. So for example, let's say this, let me rewind. Kind of see our automation here. There's our volume going up. And let's say I want to do some panning stuff with my 80 synth. Here's what my 80 synth sounds like. Okay, let's say I want to do some kind of obnoxious panning. So I choose my parameter from this button. The default is volume. I'm going to change it to panning. And it's set at -10 because I had already moved it over just a little bit to the left. But I'm just going to start clicking node points, which is going to make the panning go back and forth. So I hit return and watch over here. It's going to do these panning things. There it goes. It's just kind of jumping back and forth. Okay. If I close this automation, it's all still going to play back. But notice if I bring up my mixer that I have the 3 automations I've put in. They show up. In other words, if I turn these to off, it's going to ignore anything I've done. I want that on read. And in fact, once you've done with latch, once you're done with it, you probably want to put it on read so that you won't accidentally change anything. And here's also kind of a cool thing. Let's say my loop is this short, and I copy it. Again, here's my automate. Whoops. Actually, let's not use that one. Let's use this guy. Let's say this was shorter. Maybe the loop is actually only that long. And I say I want to copy this. That is Option drag. It's going to ask, do you want to copy the automation data too? Well, that's kind of cool because in most cases, if you're copying it, you probably want the same automation. If you don't have to. But yeah, I want to copy that. And then I'm going to do it again, Option drag. Sure, I want to copy that. And then I open it up and I can see that it has copied that each time. So that also can be very useful too. Okay, so there's some basic run through as far as automation of how to do that. Either the manual way using latch or touch mode, or clicking it in with nodes in the automation lanes. Good luck.